Fuck. All right. To the future. Nothing so profound, just talking to myself. Somewhere good, like sit ups and push ups of the pen? Did you ever climb that figurative literary Everest? What did it turn out to be? Am I consciously and unconsciously measuring success by ratings and approval? Goodness with success? Worthiness with goodness? And if so, should I stop? Probably. Why are you still quiet? What happened? Is it me? Is it thee?
What about now?
All right, and you're back. What changed? Is it just the cable or?
All right.
All right. Okay. We're back.
It's
But
the mic. It's the condenser mic. The connection is bad down below.
mm,
That's
okay.
loose. That's loose. So if I just need to get an XLR for that and then run it through
Oh,
a little
okay. So you're
mini board.
using the other mic, the mic on your headset now.
Yeah. No. I just got this new
Okay.
headset today. It was like $56 headset on sale for $20.
Mm,
That's what I'm talking about. That's
yeah.
how you get rich. That's how you get rich. Did you know
Yeah.
that? I know. You can just like endear yourself to relatives and then poison them.
Right.
Or
That's one way.
or
Or you get a bunch of loans and then buy the most expensive suits, the most expensive cars. You go to the most expensive clubs and stand next to the rich people, and by osmosis, you get
that's what
rich,
Schindler did.
right?
True story.
Well, it worked for him. I think I was quoting Ben Stein's Guide to Losing All Your Money, but
Oh my God, what were we talking about before our technical issues?
yeah, well, I was just going into like how it was for me, the performative aspect, the authority
Yeah,
aspect,
no, I think this is very interesting because how many people were in the Golden Dawn in high school? Like, what more Harry
yeah,
Potter shit could you want?
not, yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I was going through stuff. I mean, literally, a lot of my memories of the early grades take place in high school. Like
Yeah,
I did my first Klipothic middle pillar in the bathroom at the auditorium where I used to do the drama. They called it the Klipothic
who?
middle
What do
pillar
you?
just
Who?
because
No one did that. What you did? You didn't do that. No one does that.
I invented it. I no, I
No,
what I did was I took I saw
PH invented that.
because Nineveh had the turbo middle pillar with the with all four worlds. Did you ever do that one where the
Dude, in
AHA
Reikian
Metatron?
position for 2 hours every
Right.
class.
Yeah. So I got Kabbalah Unveiled. Actually, I was working at a bookstore, used bookstore, and I found my dad's copy of Mather's Kabbalah Unveiled with my dad's signature inside it. And so the guy who was selling the book through that bookstore said, "Well, the universe wants you to have that book, apparently." And so, but there's this fold out, like, Playboy has the fold out. There's this fold out, and it has, the divine names, the archangels, the choirs of angels, the heavens of Messiah, the choirs of demons, the archdevil, and the sphere of the Qliphoth. And so I thought, well, we could just take the turbo middle pillar one step further. Start with the divine name. I wasn't just calling on the Qliphoth. I was start putting it all under the rulership of the divine name. So in my mind, it was as edgy as Crowley invoking Goetia in order to put them under will or something. But I was gonna, but maybe invoking it inside your own body is a little weird. So yeah, I got like the time I did that, and how powerful I felt, and then how the headache I got all revolves around like going from this class, fifth period, and then going here, and then this teacher was there, and so like a lot of that was my experiment ground where I tried out a lot of this outer order magic was in the context of school or school drama, or like, for example, using God forms with my school plays. There was one point where I left after my proctor. There was a scandal and he left. Yeah, and so I directed the Glass Menagerie. So I had the actors create Tom and Amanda and Laura god forms and recreate them, and then taught them how to banish them into the white light and everything. And I remember one night at my house, I had them all get into god form, and they it was all very serious and candles and everything. And then the actress who was playing Laura turned to the actor playing Tom, and they just locked eyes, and she said, "Why?" And he just, tears just came right down. I'm like, yes, yes, we've got it. You guys are in character, like this goes beyond method acting a little bit, I mean, if you're doing it right. And so that's what we did every night, was we got into our character god forms before we performed the Glass Menagerie.
I remember you telling me that before. I don't know if it was on a podcast or whatever, but it's so awesome because, like, dude, grade 8 Macbeth, I was cast as Hecate under
Mm.
protest. I wanted to be a witch, but they said only girls can be witches, so they cast me as
So
Hecate.
you're Hecate. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Well, I had long black hair down to my waist, right?
Right.
So, and I already wore makeup, white makeup and eyeliner and fangs every
Yeah, yeah, so it works.
and rice. So whatever. Let that fucking
Yeah.
kid, like, yeah, man. Dude, the girls would just like surround me at recess and kick me on the ground till I was like so like nonstop. Like they're just like, because there was
Oh.
like 2 or 3 guys in my class and like
Mhm.
16 girls. And
Mm.
so at the PTA meetings, apparently the constant conversation from grade 4 to grade 8 was how they could stop the girls from shit kicking the guys all the time. It was so abusive. But then we got to high school
Wow.
and the girls' hormones kicked in, and next all of a sudden it was like,
Right.
if I take my shirt off, will you give me a massage?
Mhm.
Right. So it flipped in high school, and we're like flashing back to all the beatings, and we're like, yes,
Remember when you were taller than
we'll give
me?
you a massage.
Yeah. Because
Because
they get the growth spurt first, and then
my
yeah.
hormones have kicked in too now, girl. So like I'll become the
Right.
massage fucking master.
Literally,
But
yeah.
so as Hecate in grade 8, I was just starting to practice Donald Michael Craig. You met
Mm.
him a few times in our order, right?
Oh, did I ever? I feel
You
like I met
must
him
have.
once.
You must have. You got the call when he had cancer for the ritual, right?
No.
Mm.
I don't even know if I met him, actually, now that I think about it.
Some adept who was with us 20 years ago gave me a call out of the blue and was like, Don Craig has cancer, there's a ritual at this time, here's the script, we're
Mm,
all doing it. And
mm,
I was like, how did you find me? He's like,
wow.
he's like, I like your band. I'm like, I didn't know anyone paid attention to me after
We were
those years.
leading up to the schism 12 years ago. I mean, if you mean exactly 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Wait, there was a lot of things that I missed when there was so much heated drama between the Chicago temple and the California temple. And like, I don't know what music came out that year. I don't know what movies came out that year. Like, I missed everything in not only in popular culture, but in the outside our particular Golden Dawn community occult world as well. So, you know.
Well,
The more heated the drama was, and like those years when we were focused on the Jerusalem work and all of that stuff, like I don't even know what aughts fashion is, or aughts style music, like, or I still don't, like Pio keeps, having to update me, because she was tracking and paying attention to all that stuff back in 2002 through, today, and like what people were wearing, and what the styles were, and what the colors were, and what the music was. And I just don't know, because I was just listening to Enigma on repeat for all those years in the temple, or whatever, Enya, like Adiemos. We had our, yeah, the eternal Om, Richard Slap. And then I bought this Anonymous 4 Gregorian chants one time and donated it to the temple. And then they played it for 32 hours while I was in the box. And I'm like, if I could go back in time and shoot myself right before I bought that CD, I would,
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Oh, gloriosa Domino. No, no, no.
So prepping for Hecate backstage, I was
Mm-hmm.
started just calling to Hecate and accidentally did a god form. I imagine Hecate all around myself, though I didn't do the practical formula of, god form formula, which most people don't even realize. I showed it to
Mm.
my OTOAA buddy a few months ago, and he was like, "Oh, there's a technique for it." I'm like, "Yeah, there's a
I know,
technique for
right?
it.
Gosh, yeah. They learn
It's
the
not
LBRP
you're not
almost,
it's not just
sort of.
visualizing shit, you know." So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they learned the LBRP almost, almost.
Ate, Malkuth. I'm like, okay, just a few notes so far, Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely room for variation within it, but there's
Yeah.
just a difference between seeing people who have done it who didn't learn it from a book, but from other people who learned it from other
Right.
people. Because after you do it for any ritual for a long time, you're gonna get powerful at it. And once you get
Yeah.
powerful at it, you pass on that ability to your, like, I recently had a student who was like, wow, I'm sort of sad at how little I've learned the last couple of years. I'm like, you know how to not only do but teach both heptarchial Enochian grimoire magic and Shem HaMephoresh angel magic.
Mm.
Do you know how long it took me to be able to do
Right.
that? And you can do that at the same level that I can do that after 2 years.
Mm.
It's like,
Mm.
that's fucking crazy. The only way that could be possible is if you had someone who had put in the 25, 30 years before you and learned from a bunch of people and kept learning and kept working and then said, hey, you know what? Do this.
Right.
Here you
Yeah.
go. Here you go. Served on a platter, like a master
Yeah.
chef preparing a gourmet delicacy that took him 30, 40 years to master. But you're
Yeah.
eating it in 2 seconds, and he can give you the recipe, and you can fucking go make it for whoever you want like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So accidental god form of Hecate going into Macbeth.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then when I in grade 12, so the same student just got COVID,
Mm.
which I don't actually believe he had COVID because he was vaxxed. So I think it's a
Mm.
conspiracy theory because he was vaxxed 3 times and he got COVID.
Mm.
I think they're lying about him having COVID because you can't get COVID if you got
Well, the
vaxxed.
chances are
Now
very
we're
low, but yeah,
definitely
we'll move
now you're
along. Yeah.
definitely. I just want to make sure that we're certain 100% demonetized on this podcast because I've been talking to all these authors and PhDs and I just needed to let loose with you, bro.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
I love you, man.
I love you too. Wait,
So
I have differences of opinion with certain things, but it's okay. I mean, it's good actually. One thing I remember about Golden Dawn, there was a soror. I'll just tell this one story. There was a
wait
soror.
1 sec.
Shoot. Okay, okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Finish the God form
Yeah,
segment.
yeah, yeah. Hecate, Hecate.
Because it's a segment. So then grade 8 accidental Hecate God form, which
Mm.
led to, like, it felt when I was doing the lines, because it's one speech basically, two little
Hmm.
speeches, but one big one. I felt another presence around me, but it wasn't
Mm.
controlling me. It was just tincturing me,
Mm. Mm.
right? That's what God
Yeah,
forms feel like. And
yeah.
the way I moved was not how I felt I was moving. Um,
Right.
Then in grade 12, I was Big Daddy in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And I had just gone in, I was just testing out a Philosopher's, getting ready to come down to LA with you to go through Portal with you and V.
Mm.
And went into the bathroom before playing Big Daddy and put on the Horus God form and did that
Mm.
on stage. And it got
Wow.
VHS recorded. So when this student was sick, I sent him a private link to the whole thing. And you can see me in Horus God form playing Big Daddy and doing the whole role. Because it's on YouTube. It's just a private link. Obviously,
Right.
because of the profanity in that old play is not allowed
Mm.
anymore.
Mm.
But we
Mm.
didn't know that at the time. It was the 90s.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. There might be a backlash to the backlash, because
Is
yeah,
that
it's absurd, like not letting kids read Mark Twain and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah.
all right? Back to you.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, there was a soror that I knew for years, and she knew my mom and everything, and and then one day we got drunk, and she was saying, when I was young, I used to run with the Aryan Brotherhood. I'm like, wait, what? And she was
What?
like, yeah, I ran away from home, and I might be misremembering some of the details, and so let's make this a slightly fictitious person because the person's still out there and running for fucking Congress. But anyway, yeah, no, or some lower city council position with the red dress doing this,
I
like
need
a dog
my hat
whistles,
for this
this
story.
little dog whistle.
Oh my
Anyway,
god.
So long story short, yeah, well, that kind of gives away the ending. So no, this one,
They're the
Kyle.
same. They're the same thing. The fist in the air.
This
The
is
fist in the
communist.
air. Yeah,
This is Nazi. It's a
they
little different, but
they both
yeah.
want they both want to kill us all.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. But anyway, yeah, I don't like the Nazis, but I like the communists. So let's just put this right here for now.
Agreed to. Oh yeah, please do put that in the yeah.
Yeah.
Agree to
All right.
disagree on the politics.
So anyway, yeah. So that was basically my point. Was I was like, you're better now, right? You're not racist. And she was like, I was never racist, just proud to be white. And I was like, that's fucked up. But anyway, so then I had a friend who needed
You
a place
don't
to
need
stay.
to say
She
the
had a
phrase
place
"proud
to
to be
stay.
white."
That's the thing.
You
Yeah.
don't need to say that.
Yeah.
Use a different word.
Right. So I said, well, she has a room to rent, and so he rented a room for her, and he's like, you got to come over here and see this house. And so I came over, and so walked into the living room. There's the American flag with a picture of an eagle, George W. Bush. This was 20 years ago, and a red, white, and blue candle underneath the American flag. I'm like, holy shit. What the fuck? This is crazy. And he's like, that's not the crazy part. And I was like, oh, really? And so then we turn left and go down this long hall past a big nude picture of the woman whose house it was. And then at the very end is a big old Confederate flag. I'm like, what the fuck? That's a Confederate flag. Jesus Christ. He's like, that's not the crazy part. I'm like, what? And so then we get to the end of the hall, turn right and into the bedroom, and there is the full-on 1930s bright red Nazi flag. And so, then that evening there was a heated debate between me and that woman about whether that's an evil symbol. And she's like, if it's an evil symbol, why is it in the Golden Dawn? I was like, that is not in the Golden Dawn. The swastika itself is a sacred symbol in India and China and Thailand and other places. And it's even sacred if you go back before the 1920s in the Nordic part of the world. But it became an evil symbol once they put that eagle there and that circle. Like this particular symbol is the Nazi flag. This is not the.
It became
the hammer
evil
of Thor.
when they they reversed it and killed millions of people.
Right. Well, the reversing it is a little bit of a misnomer. I've come to discover that it goes both ways.
The reversing it on an angle and killing millions of people.
It's both is what it is, because you'll see it reversed on an angle at times. It's not always the square. There's a lot of variations of it when you look at temples around here. It's everywhere, literally everywhere. I mean, I've got it on my Lakshmi shrine right over here. Nice. And it's the reversed one. So I mean, it's they go both ways. So there's sort of a specifically colonial, post-colonial misnomer that when it's one way it's sacred, when it's the other way it's Nazis. That's actually false. But anyway, so we were having that debate, and it didn't end. There was no resolution to the debate. But she was the landlord, and so she was always, then I'd get a call and get, that guy that you recommended, that he rent a room for me and he's late with his rent, and so I'm like, shit, okay, well, this is on the hierarchy. I'm supposed to be her superior. And so I fucked up by recommending a guy that isn't paying his rent. And so now this woman, with a Nazi flag over her bed is calling and yelling at me because I did something wrong that I don't actually think I did something wrong, but I'm apologizing, So it's just a really weird dynamic. And then we do rituals together, and she'd be an officer, I'd be an officer, Frater, bring forth the incense, bring forth, the purification and consecration. And so that was one thing that seemed positive at the time and still seems positive.
That's so fucked up.
It is fucked up, but and maybe this is, and I talked to Augustin about, when is it going too far? Like when you're allowing Nazis at the table, is that okay? Well, that's what we were doing. It's like there was nobody cared if you were a communist or a right winger or left winger. If you got into a political conversation outside the temple, that was your own business. But you better leave that outside when you come into the temple and put on your God form, because we got to do a neophyte tonight. And so it was like considered like klipothic, you know, like you have to like put it under will, stomp it under your feet, put on your god form, hug it out, you know, like you're a frater, you're a sower. And you know, I mean, binary, what can you do? But no, but yeah, the that kind of stuff was irrelevant. Like it wasn't important. That's and I think that's one important thing to point out is it wasn't important back then. It became important sometime over the past 10, 15 years, and people's polarity and their, especially in the US, maybe in Canada too, but their political loyalties and identities and all this kind of thing became much more important. And you know, but I don't know. I mean, back then it was just assumed that everybody was anti-Nazi. Like you know, when they used to make yellow propaganda about Gargamel and you know make these fake websites, the whole thing was saying that he was a Nazi. It was
Well, he
you
did
know,
dress up like one.
there was a picture, yeah, there at one point, but they just ran with it and started making all these fake Nazi temples and like you know, Gargamel's a Nazi and he loves Nazi values, and maybe he does. I don't know, but I was much more familiar with our yellow propaganda than with the reality of him. But
All I know is he broke into my house.
mm, into the temple. Oh yeah, you were living at the temple. Oh, now I remember our conversation. We had that conversation before, and I think I said this before when we were having that conversation.
Everything that has happened, it will happen again.
Yeah. We've had this conversation before, but you weren't wearing that hat, so
The
you
spice
know.
must flow.
Can you hit pause on the recording and I'll make a second coffee?
Yeah, I'll go to the Jacks. And we're back.
With qualifiers, by the way. Free Tibet. Fuck the CCP, just to be clear, just to, you know, so there's no confusion. I like the Panthers, not the CCP. Anyway, so what were we
This
talking
is
about?
because you have a Chinese statue next to you.
No. This is a Tibetan flag beside Chenrezig, the Tibetan form of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Not real big in China. The Vajrayana didn't really take root. I mean, it took root for a few hundred years, but they got rid of it. But anyway, you'll find the statues, but no practicing Vajrayanists really in mainland outside of the Tibetan, the occupied country formerly known as Tibet. Anyway.
Have you seen this?
Looks familiar.
You have to get one of these. So this is Pat Zaleski's.
Oh,
it's the only
cool.
tarot deck that has the proper Golden Dawn 4-scale colors.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Look at that. So next year in the Hermetic Mystery School that I run, like the first year, it's going into year 3. So the first year we focused on, we covered a ton of topics, 30 topics, but focused on Enochian magic. This last year we focused on Shem magic. And this next year we're going to re-access the Shem through the tarot. And I was like, well, what better thing to do than to get the officially colored original Golden Dawn colors tarot deck and re-pathwork the whole deck through the Shem, you know, and it's very different.
Nice.
It's very different than you'd expect. But you and me actually know the colors that it's using. And so looking at this, it probably makes you think, yeah, that makes sense. Am I wrong? Like,
well, I mean, the pink, is that one of the scales of Venus? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, see, the Hierophant is almost almost all red. But when you think about it, that should is what you want, though. Sort of, well, it's got some orange as well, right? Red, orange.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting deck.
That S&M scene, what was that one again?
Oh, that's the lovers being saved from the sea dragon.
Yeah. It looked particularly.
Yeah, you'll have to get one of them. It's called the it's the Magical Tarot of the Golden Dawn by Pat Zaleski, and I've been wanting one for a while, and finally found a reason to, yeah, because it's been a long time since I did anything like, we don't usually path work outside of the initiations in a systematic order like you might think, right? Like after 5 6, you path work any path you want
Right.
pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think most people are inclined to do the ones that relate to the issues they're working on or the blocks they're facing.